Hey, Scott from Aristogrub.com. Here happens to be in my kitchen, and I hope that you are enjoying and having a very happy Tapioca Day. As always, I'm thinking ahead to tomorrow, and tomorrow happens to be Almond Butter Crunch Day. Now, what is Almond Butter Crunch? I had to Google it, and what I found, much to my excitement, is that it's basically a Heath Bar. It's a hard candy that's similar to one of my other favorite candies, which is what my kids grew up with, is Daddy's Special Candy, Werther's Original. And but it's often covered with chocolate, and I love Heath Bars. So once again, under the constraints of time, and it's already getting pretty late now, I'm going to go ahead and use the microwave again. Not that this channel is all about using a microwave, but it could be, and I don't care. It's a good tool. So I've never done this before. I'm trying this from scratch, and we'll see what happens. Now, most of the recipes I found call for roasting almonds. And again, I don't have the time for that. And I thought, you know, if I buy dry roasted and salted almonds and cook them in the microwave just a bit, I know that I can improve their taste. We've done this with peanuts and other nuts. If you cook them just to the point where the oils are starting to come out of them and they brown just a little bit, it can be quite tasty. So I'm going to give that a try, and hopefully that will work in this recipe. So here you see the almonds before they go in. They are very dry, lightly salted. And when I pull them back out, hopefully they'll be a little bit oily and certainly a bit more toasted. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to pull out one of the darkest ones. Woo, 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 woo. And I have one that I didn't cook. And let's compare these. Look at that. Now, they're not all this toasted. Ooh, dang it, that's hot. They're not all that toasted, but after 3 minutes, there were some cracking sounds going on in there, and the smell in here is wonderful. But depending upon the wattage of your microwave, you're obviously going to want to keep an eye on that. Maybe cook it 2 minutes and then go for another 30 seconds, another 30 seconds beyond that. I did stop, give it a quick stir to make sure that the ones that are near the center got moved to the outside and moved around. So I think this is an improvement over going straight out of the bag. Who knows? And I'm now going to take a portion of these, probably about a quarter of them, and stick them into a little blender like that, and make what will then be the topping that'll go on this after everything is made. The rest of them will get a little bit coarser chop, and that'll go into our mix after we cook the other ingredients. Well, that's definitely not the right tool for this. I made almond flour out of it. Oh my. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and plan on mixing this in. We're making this up as we go along. I don't know why you didn't say anything. We all knew this was the right thing to do. So this recipe calls for a cup of butter, which is 2 sticks of butter, and I'm using real butter here. And it calls for unsalted butter. I don't have unsalted butter. I have salted butter. And my almonds have a little bit of salt. And so while the recipe calls for some salt, we're not going to add any. Now, to this melted butter, we are going to add 1.5 cups of white sugar. And we're going to add, let's see, 1 tablespoon of light corn syrup. Now, if you're scared of corn syrup, and a lot of folks are concerned with corn syrup, you got to remember there's a difference between corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is incredibly sweet. Imagine that you distill this down about 100 times. That's not what we're messing with. This is just corn syrup, and this is light corn syrup. There is light and there is dark corn syrup. This is what you'll find in a lot of syrups, or syrups, as our buddy Chef John calls it. And we're going to just use a single tablespoon of this. Woo! which we will drop into this mixture. All right, this also gets 3 tablespoons of water, and then we're going to cook this in 2-minute intervals and stir it, and we're going to keep an eye on it until we get to the right color and temp. Whoa, things are getting exciting here at the 2-minute point. A lot of bubbles. It's looking good. Now, we're going to be keeping an eye on this now, because what we're looking for as it heats up is it's going to start changing color. And we will test this with a thermometer, and our goal is to hit about the 300-degree mark. That is the point where candy, when it cools, will be hard, and that's what we want. So I'm hoping the thermometer I have will work. We'll find out. All right, we are at the 6-minute mark. Nope, we are not the right color yet, so we're going to continue. Let's give it 2 more minutes. So it's kind of fascinating. It bubbles up, then it collapses. It bubbles up, then it collapses. This is why I told you when I did that other candy that you want to be sure you use a container that's about twice the size, at least twice the size of what you're planning on holding. Okay, so it's gone a minute longer, and we're definitely getting some more color in this. Let's check this again. $260, $265, $278, $292, $296, $300. All right. So into this now we need to add our nuts. So we're going to stir this in. Woo! And then we're going to pour this out onto a cookie sheet. Now, I was curious about whether we would need to butter that cookie sheet or not, but there's so much butter in this mixture, it's just not necessary. Okay, so, sorry that you can't see what I'm doing here. Show it to you once it gets out onto the sheet. Oh yeah, first thing I pour out of here was a little bit of butter. And then we're just going to push this out to an even-ish thickness. Butter crunch. I can see that. All right, so there we go. And now, while it's still warm, we're going to put some chocolate chips on here. Now, the chocolate chips that I chose are my favorite, and that is, they're dark chocolate. Now, you could put Hershey chocolate bars, milk chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, whatever kind of chocolate you like on here, but since I've already admitted this is what I like, that's what we're going to put on. And I am of the opinion if some is good, more is better. So there we go. That's covered. I'm going to put a cookie sheet on top of this for a few minutes because we need this to melt. And then we're going to come back and we're going to spread that out a little bit and put that topping on that we overdid. Probably being a little impatient, but I want to get this spread. So let's see if that's melted enough to spread around. It is. There are still some unmelted pieces, but if that's the way it stays, I'll still be happy with that. Nice and chunky. And then now to this, we're going to sprinkle that topping.
And since it didn't come out quite as I wanted, I think I'm not going to go crazy with this. I mean, gosh, the whole thing is a base of almonds, so it's not like it needs a lot of this for flavor. And that's it. We have made Almond Butter Crunch. So now it's your turn. Either make this for yourself, which really wasn't that difficult, or maybe better yet, go buy a Heath Bar. Thanks for watching, commenting, and if you make yourself some Butter Crunch, post a picture of it on Instagram and hashtag Aristogrub. Thanks, and I'll see you again tomorrow.